welcome back to my channel, everyone. It's another video time, and for those that saw last week's video, you will see that I went ahead and purchased a Alfa Romeo Giulietta 2011 1.4 petrol, and this is the Veloce spec car. Paid $1,500 for it, minus the fee, so I can't remember what it was, $1,800 I think it was, just over. And as you can see, it's finally turned up from Copart. I got the car through a Shipley quote, and yeah, decided that well, obviously there's a number of people who put in a quote, but because this car's got no keys, I was a bit wary about people basically putting in a quote and then saying, oh, if it's got no keys, I'm not interested in purchasing or taking your business. And this guy took it up. Now, for those that don't really know, Copart will take that car or any car that you've got, and with basically a giant forklift truck, they will scoop it up from the rear and dump it straight onto the transporter. And so it doesn't matter if it doesn't run or drive, it's dumped on there. Now, the problem with this Giulietta, which you can potentially see in this video as we go through it, is bearing in mind we've got no keys, so we've got no power, so the power steering is completely locked, and it's ever so slightly turning by about 30 degrees or so, the front wheels. So when you try and roll this back, the front end's going to want to start coming off the side of the trailer. But the delivery guy, to be fair, he kept it overnight because he wanted to get some trolley jacks and try and sort it out, and eventually turned up in the morning and with a winch and everything, and we were okay. It wasn't the quickest of drop-offs, but we were able to drop the car down and eventually onto the road. I will forward this up so you don't have to worry too much, because this can continue to go on and on and on, of slowly moving the car bit by bit off the ramp. We've got it onto the road at the moment as this video is going out, and that's pretty much where it's stayed ever since, because well, I'll come to that. But yeah, so this was an interesting way of getting the car off the trailer, and yeah, I don't recommend necessarily in the future about cars with keys. They can be very hit and miss, and obviously you don't know the reasons as to why the car doesn't have keys. I was on the assumption that it was stolen and the keys have been lobbed by the suspects, the offenders, hence why we don't have the keys. And it just means that everything's locked, so there's no real way of getting the car off without letting it roll back and hoping that it doesn't come off the end. So we'll fast forward the video and you can see basically how we get on with manoeuvring the car. So with a slightly different camera angle, sitting on top of the Fiat 500, you can see the way that this came off the transporter, that it's just not straight. And it's also a good time to have a quick look around just to check on everything. Not that the transporter guy's got anything to do with it, but it's still, just worth having a look, see what's inside, see the general condition of the car. And once the transporter's out the way, we can push it so it's not blocking the driveway. And but the fact that it also runs as well, that's quite handy, because, well, I say runs, what I mean is it you can see it moves pretty much on its own free will, so there's no brake seized, handbrake on or anything like that. So that also is a good sign for a car that was MOT'd well over a year ago. The fact that it moves quite easily, I don't know, suggests maybe, it just suggests that the car has moved at some point between then. What I should also point out is, although it's not going to be featured on this video, rubbish within the car indicated, like receipts, that it was last roughly used about July 2021 in the UK, and then after that it's just stopped. Can't trace any more history after that at all. So I'm not really sure what's happened. Obviously there's some people who have commented on the YouTube channel saying things like it ended up in Poland. It could well have ended up in Poland, obviously, because the HPI report suggests that. Did it end up because the owners drove it to Poland and dumped it because it didn't work, or they moved back to Poland, or was it stolen and sent off to Poland? We just don't know. But I just think it's going to be a history on a car that we'll never be able to get to the bottom of. So this is a case of pushing it and just pushing it out of sight of the camera, but away from the drive so we can get out. So, as you can see, we've got it here, and it's now on the road, but as we have no keys, we can't do anything with it at the moment. So I've already had a look round, so this isn't really a finding feature because I already know what kind of is wrong with it, but we'll run through anyway, and we'll take it as we go. If you've got any comments about anything you see, then drop them in the comments box. So we'll start at the back. We've got some slight mark here, and we've got a slight scuff there as well. I think there's some compound probably in here that can be cleaned out with a toothbrush. The biggest problem, whether you can see that, is that, which I didn't see in the pictures, there's a dink there. That should pull out. Shouldn't be any issues either from the inside, but that is not creased, so hopefully that will be fine. You can just ever so slightly see there as well. That's probably going to need some touch-up paint as well, but otherwise the rear is all good.
these are intact, just like the Fiats. They are prone to some problems. So, and if we look in here, it's an unused space saver, and I did have a panic on because there was no locking wheel nut, but looking at the wheels, there are no locking nuts on them. So, there's a slight problem in the paint there as well, and there. So they are Bridgestones, Potenzas all around, and there are scuffs basically on all of the alloys, and then you can see there's just like corrosion running down there. Now bear in mind that we don't know how long this has been standing for. It actually has rolled off, so the brakes aren't seized, so that's good. So running along the side of the car, we have a tiny two little dinks, if you can just see them here and here, tiny dinks. There's a slight dink here as well. Tread, there's not too bad on the treads. The fronts are obviously worse than the rears. Again, you can just see there's scuffs to the wheels. Right, onto here. So there's no wiper blades. For some reason they've been taken off. Don't know why. For the life of me, I can't think why anyone would take those unless they've been stolen. The battery was completely dead, so that's now been swapped out. And for the minute, just put one of these in just for the minute whilst the other battery's gone on charge. Front of the car, which was in the Copart pictures here, it's like it's been hit at the front, and it's sort of creased slightly. When you have a look at what it should look like, which is here, so that's, yeah, might have a bit of filler and then a bit of paint, but you're never going to get that 100%, unfortunately. No yellowing in the headlamps, so that's good. And then if we look down the side, there's actually no issues down this side at all, bodywork wise. Copart haven't buggered the sills either, so that's good. So this side is actually fine. We've got this window that's not closed, but that could just be because it's just with no keys and everything that this was just never put up, so fingers crossed on that going up. So that is pretty much the outside. Inside, a few strange little issues going on. The inside here has got, for some reason, some sort of like soot marks. Now I initially thought that was fingerprint dust, but it's not. For some reason that is burn marks, and I can't for the life of me think why that would be on the inside. However, so this is the inside. And apart from being very dirty, it's not too bad. But I'll come back in the inside in a minute and I'll explain what the biggest problem is, which is not the fact that this won't shut. There's a bigger problem which we need to sort out.
Right, so This is one of the issues that was highlighted with the transporter guy, and it's unfortunately something that's going to set us back quite a bit of money. Interior of Giulietta, quite nice. It's not too bad for 2011. It's not bad. You can see the ignition barrel is intact, so that's not been wired, anything like that. I mean, it's relatively basic, but for 2011 it's actually not a bad interior. Obviously the Veloce version, so you have these sort of part leather seats, and you can see there's no rips or anything in them as well, so that's all good. So interior wise, it's not looking too bad. I appreciate some don't like the black roof lining because it makes everything darker. But yeah, so this is the biggest problem that we have got. That clutch pedal has absolutely no give to it at all. It's in two positions. It either sticks to the top or it sticks to the bottom. There's nothing in between. There's no springiness, nothing at all. And try to self-diagnose that myself, and we're just struggling. By pressing the clutch pedal, it is moving the fluid around, but having looked at it, I think we're talking of a cylinder that has gone. I don't know if the whole clutch has gone, but it's an absolute ball ache to get to, like proper on another level on this car. It's not simple at all, and I don't really have the means to be able to look that over. So yeah, I think that's going to have to go into a garage so they can hoist it up and have a look. But I think one of the cylinders has gone. I suspect it's the slave through some diagnostics, but it might well be that there might have to be a few more parts paid out on that. It's just so difficult to get to, and if anyone's got an idea of what that could be, but I've been looking around for quotes, and yeah, it's getting a bit expensive, but it's the only way that I'm going to be able to sort it out. So in the meantime, I've taken the boot lining apart, which is all clipped in just the usual, by the usual means, because I wanted to pop that dent out the rear. Now all it needed was just a hand underneath in here and just literally just push it, so there's no dent pulling or anything like that, and that just with a bang basically just popped out. So that was a relatively nice easy job, so we've got something to look forward to, and just unfortunately some paint work at the rear of this that's going to have a lot of attention around the bumper, so we'll have to crack on with that at some point.
It's a big day today. The key man is coming to sort out the white 500 and the Giulietta that's over there. So he's got to code those two keys, and then with the Giulietta we'll be able to work out exactly what's going on, how much fuel it's got, what the mileage is, and whether it starts. We're not going to be able to do anything more because that clutch pedal, or the slave, or the master cylinders, or whatever, or the clutch, something's gone wrong there, and I've got to work out exactly what that is. So we'll wait for him to turn up, and we'll see what happens when he gets here.
So the key man spent nearly 2 hours trying to get these keys coded to the car. using a multitude of different types of equipment, and I had to end up getting mine out just to make sure we weren't having issues with the port. But we got it done. The keys eventually got coded, and everything in regards to that, it's absolutely fine. So one of the big problems was the car was not turning over. So once the key was done, put the key in, ignition on, fuel pump, kicks into life, everything like that, and you turn it, nothing. Turn it, nothing. And this is what you'll hear in a minute, and I'll just run it through. And then at the end, you'll hear it finally fire up after a number of attempts. So the car had obviously been standing for a very long time, and I had a massive panic on that something had gone majorly wrong, and that was the reason the car was for sale. But luckily it's all good, it's just the clutch that we need to sort out.
So the final update on this is the engine's now running. So that just clearly was, it's been standing for a while, it just needed a good number of turns, and then that's got going. However, we have no clutch, so this car will be going into the garage to have this looked at next week. And the reason behind that is I just don't really have the time, and I don't have the patience to go in this, because this is it's a lot of work to get possibly the master cylinder done, or the slave cylinder. So this will get going in on Tuesday. So this will get MOT'd as well. Hopefully that will be sorted, and then that's pretty much it. Contemplating having the alloys done, because obviously there's quite a lot of value or profit in this, so I might consider that. But until this comes back, when the clutch is done, we'll know what's going on and how much the clutch and everything's going to cost. So yeah, so say goodbye, and we'll see this in a number of weeks' time. And that's it for today's video. So until next time, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon. Oh, and hit the bell button, and then your phone gets notification of when the video's going live. So yeah, more to come on this one, and more to come on these other ones up at the top there. Till next time, I'll see you all soon.